Hi friends, it's Terry Stewart, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in the US and Maryland. Welcome to this edition of our Global Share Fair. I'm really excited to share my project with you. I am away from my craft room, so I've pre-recorded this. But welcome whether you're watching live or on replay. Let's get started. So today we're showcasing stamp sets and DSP. So the stamp set I'm showcasing is Amazing Silhouettes, and it's really, really pretty. At first, I wasn't sure that I liked it, but the more I've used it, I really am enjoying it. You have the stamp image is actually the shadow around an image. So there's a butterfly, a fern, and I'm using this tree image today with cinnamon cider. And my DSP pack that I'm using is In Good Taste, and it's, I guess they call this photorealistic, but it's a lot of textures, wood grains, fabrics, kind of artsy. It's just a lot of different textures and images, and it's very versatile. I'm really enjoying it. Bricks and tiles and just really cool. So the pattern that I've picked for my project, well, let me show you my project. This is it. I'm using this brick pattern along with cinnamon cider, cardstock, and ink. And I was going to add some embellishments, but I really think that with the DSP and the image itself, it really doesn't need more, and I think it would distract from it. So let me bring in my cardstock and we can get started. I'll move my stamp set out of the way. So this is cinnamon cider. This is an in color. And here's my paper trimmer. I'm going to cut this on the short side. This is a full sheet of cardstock at 4 1/4. For my metric friends, that would be 10.5 centimeters. And then I'm going to cut it in half again, and that's 5.5 inches or 14.9 centimeters. And I'll post all of my measurements following my presentation. So we have the 1/4 sheet of cardstock, and I'll just put this on it to remind you. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to cut that at 2.5 inches or 6.5 centimeters. So this is the whole length of my cardstock, 2.5 inches, 6.5 by 29.7, and we're going to score this in half, and that's 5.5 inches or 14.9. So we're just going to score that in half. And my little sticky note on this. So there we go. It's 2.5 by 11, or 6.5 by 29.7. And then my very vanilla, I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4, which is 14.4 centimeters. Let's get it right. 5 1/4. And then I'm going to cut 2 pieces equal. So 2 1/4 inches or 6 centimeters, and I'll cut 2 of those. And so we have 2 pieces. Each of them are 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 or 6 inches by 14.4 centimeters. And then my lovely DSP. And I want to make sure when I cut my DSP that it's in the portrait. So this is going to be 4 inches or 10 centimeters by 5 1/4 inches or 14.4 centimeters. So that's basically the first layer on our card front. And that is all the cutting. So the first thing we're going to do is stamp. And so I'm going to bring out my pieces that are 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. 2 pieces. And one I'm going to put my tree image on, and one is going to be the inside piece. So this is how my card opens. Now this is where I would write a note. If you want to write a longer note, you can put a piece of vanilla on the back, or you could cut another one of this 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, 6 by 14.4 centimeters, and put it up here and write a bigger note. So that's really up to you, but this is how I'm doing my card. And I'm gonna bring in my cinnamon cider ink. And I have found that for me, it's easier to bring the ink pad to the stamped image, to the stamp. So I'll just ink it up this way. And because I have the camera going, I'm going to do this sideways. I think it just helps me a little bit more with placement. If I could get my head over there, I would stamp it as I normally would in a vertical, but I'm going to do it horizontally. So this is the image, and you can see that it's really giving you the negative. So the ink is outlining the image itself. Now in my preview video, I said I was going to use Wink of Stella. Well, I did. And what I found though, after I did the Wink of Stella, is like, it's not quite the look I wanted. So I experimented with blender pen, and I found that the blender pen actually gives you a darker image. So you can compare the original to the one that I've used blender pen. So you can see it kind of gives you a richer color. And so that's what I went with, and I'll show you. So I'm not going to color all this, but with the blender pen, you just go over where the ink is, and even into these little crevices, I kind of just touch them. And it's more just to push the ink around so you can see the difference from this top to the bottom and right and left. It really brightens the ink up, and I like that a lot. And so if you've never used a blender pen, it does pick up a little bit ink. So then once you're done blending your image, you can just wipe off like that, and you're ready to go to the next color. So let me show you my experiment. So this is the ink. You can see the blender pen. So here is what I stamped in just ink. You can see that's kind of light. Then I did a Wink of Stella, and I like that. But when I tried the blender pen, it really even brought more depth to it. So that's why I'm using a blender pen instead of Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella is cute, but I think I like the blender pen better. And I've already did one with the blender pen, so you can see the difference. What the blender pen does. It just, I don't know, makes it pop. So I really like it. All right, so we got that done. And then for the inside, I'm going with the blessings of home, and you are a real blessing to everyone around you. That's the image I'm using. So here it is. And I'm going to stamp again with my cinnamon cider ink. So this is kind of a monochromatic card. Let's see if it comes out straight. Yes, it did. Well, voila. And so while I have my ink pad out, I'm going to bring in my dauber, and I'm going to go around the edges of my stamp panel. And this just kind of distresses it a little bit, gives a little interest. And you can even go onto the cardstock. So it's not just the edges. You can really kind of age your cardstock this way by distressing it. And just brushing it on the edges, maybe a little bit on cardstock itself. and give it an age distressed look. I like that look. So it's not so stark. Just a little smudgy here and there. Okay, and that really is all the ink on this project. And we can start to assemble. So I'll bring in my DSP and my card base. So here's my card base. It's just a quarter sheet of cardstock. And then I have my DSP, which is first layer. And I'll be using some multi-glue. So I'm looking forward to getting back to my craft room and to the internet so I can see what my fellow sharefarers, demonstrators have created. They're always amazing products or projects using amazing products. There we go. And then on this piece, I'm going to fold that in half. And I'll bring in my bone folder and crisp up that score line because that's I really like a crisp score line. So I can just press that down. And then on top of that, we're going to put our stamped image that we use the blender pen on. And I think that this would probably really look nice in some kind of maybe misty moonlight or the evening evergreen. I think this would just look stunning. And maybe for the butterfly, something with a blue or another dark, vibrant color would just be gorgeous. So I'm looking forward to playing around with this set some more. And because it doesn't have any sentiments in the set, you really can use any sentiment you have. Like this to me is more of a masculine card, but yeah, a lot of options. And so now with our base, we're going to adhere our flap, and I'll be using my liquid glue again. And then I'm going to center this, and I'm using my grid paper to do that. So I think that's where we're going to go, right? Yep, right down the center. And then there we are. So that'll be the top and the bottom should be even, perfect. And there's the final card. So this card, like I said, I think it could be a masculine card or a sympathy or just a note, hey, I'm thinking of you. And I thought about maybe putting some rhinestones on it, but really with this brick pattern in the back and this stunning image in the front, I really thought that it had enough. So leave me a comment if you would add some embellishments and what are you thinking you would add. Thank you for joining me at on today's Share Fair. I hope you enjoyed my project. Angie's coming up next. Remember, if you have any questions or like to place an order, contact the demonstrator who invited you to this Share Fair. And until next time, remember, stamping is fun. Bye.